have these skills, like the ability to stand up and talk in front of people. This, in fact, I do a lot of work with CEOs, and I ask a CEO of a company, what is the number one skill you need to have as a CEO of a company? Good morning, sir. In fact, he has entered at the opportune time. The number one skill that the CEO of a company needs. I want to ask these young people, what is that skill do you think it is? Yes, go ahead.
Charisma.
Charisma? Okay. Charisma, yes. Yeah, a little bit of charisma. Anything else? Yes, Jesse?
Confidence.
Confidence, okay, for sure. Confidence, charisma. Yeah, these are soft skills. In my humble estimation, the number one skill that a CEO needs is the ability to stand up in front of people and to talk. And to talk in a way that communicates, where your message is not just, for example, entertaining, but informative, but the ability to get your point across.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to Bidco. Of course, your host is Dr. Weche, we're just facilitating. But welcome, and I hope you have a good time today. And I hope you go with something when you go back. And I hope you've gone mad, which means you've made a difference to yourselves. So I hope we can do that. And of course, I'll be speaking after the tea. You never speak to people who are hungry or not fed well, because otherwise nothing penetrates. So I think we'll have a tea break and then I can speak. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Watch and listen.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर ये चल चल जाओ बोला क्या बात करता है क्या ऊपर से जाएगा क्या ऊपर से जा जा
गया मेरी शो
I hate this country. कुछ करो ना।
मैं वहां जाके क्या उखाड़ लूंगा?
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई, जाने कैसा दर्द लाई, सामने क्या है ये तेरे, क्यों रुका है तू बता दे हो। तुझको पार लेगा, कौन होगा वो मसीहा, वो जिसे तू ढूंढता है, वो ही है तू वही है। तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है, तुझ में तेरा है सहारा, तू ही तुझको पार लेगा, तू ही है तेरा किनारा। जिसे ढूंढता है तू ही रे, तू ही रे, तू ही रे तेरा मसीहा हो।
Thank you. I just wanted you to see that and feel what was it that came through you? What happened to you? How do you feel? Anyone? Go on, just throw up one. No, let me just say, sit. Speak loud. Oh, okay.
Okay, let me just stand. I felt challenged to do something about whatever it is, whatever problem that is around us. To not wait for someone else to do something, but to do it yourself.
Great, thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Just shout.
Regardless of age, we can do something to change the society.
Exactly. Regardless of age, I can do something to change society. Brilliant. Anybody else wants to share? What went through you?
Fear we all have to take initiative.
I have to take initiative. It starts from me, right?
Yes.
Great. Loud.
It's time to stop thinking of what people think about you, but try what you think is right.
It's time to stop thinking of what people think about you and do something about the situation, right? Brilliant. What else?
People fear in starting something, expecting them.
No fear, right? Arresting the fear inside you to say, if I start Mimi, Swezi, I'm alone, right? What would he have felt? Alone? If he had thought about the result, can I do it alone? Did he think about that? No, he didn't. So that was important. That's amazing.
Challenge that affects you.
I can mobilize the community to tackle a challenge that is affecting us.
I've learned that I should always stand out, be unique to attract success.
I will always stand out, Aaron.
I will always stand out, be unique to attract success.
Brilliant. See, that's as a statement, that's an affirmation.
I felt encouraged to step out of my comfort zone and to not to care about the situation and complain.
Brilliant. There's somebody here.
I have learned that the fact that everybody cannot do anything about something does not mean that I should follow the trend. I should do it myself. I can do it myself.
You want to have a can?
Yeah.
I can do it. I don't have to wait for others to do it and then say, me, I become a follower, right?
No matter the little effort I put, as long as I'm determined to change something, it will still happen.
Brilliant, brilliant. And as long as I'm determined to change something, I will do it. Go on.
The world needs me to change it and become a better place.
The world?
Needs me to change and make it a better place.
The world needs me. Not to say I'm useless, I'm no good. The world needs me to change.
Unique and stand out.
I will be unique and... Say it again.
I'll be unique and stand out.
Brilliant.
Challenges need great strategy.
Do you want to stand up and say it? Please, special reason.
Tough challenges need great strategy.
Tough challenges
need great strategy.
Tough challenges need great strategy. My tough challenges need great strategy. Brilliant, thank you. Good, I think that was good sharing, right? The point is that this is something that's inspiring. 1 in 44 million in Kenya, what can I do? I can't make a difference. Or I'm not the president, I'm not this, I'm not this. I don't have a position, I don't have the power of the position, and still I feel I'm a student. What can I do? Isn't it? A lot of us start feeling powerless, isn't it? You saw that student? He was a student, isn't it? Did he have a position? Did he have an election, president, whatever? Nothing? He elected himself to do what he wanted to do, right? And then that inspired others to say, hey, stop talking to each other and stop squibbling, complaining, all that stuff. Let's go out and do something about it. And he inspired them all, and that's when the effort became together. Alone I am weak, together we are strong. Isn't it? And therefore, together they picked it up and left the whole thing right. What was the government doing? You saw Mr. Politician, he was arranged into a new car, he's already gone, finished, forget the problem. What was the police doing? Sleeping, right? I mean, sounds very familiar, isn't it? So, my point is, before we go and say, Hakietu, before we go and say, whatever, somebody has to do something, it's actually about what you go into. My responsibility. What is my responsibility in my situation? I know I've been asked to talk about my own situation, my own particular story. That's what would help you. But in respects today in Kenya, seriously, what we need is people like you, who are now inspired to say, I will be the change, I will make it happen. And I'm not suggesting this. If you want to set fire to this place today, right now, how many matchsticks do you need? One, right? I'm not asking you to set a fire. If you want to see one matchstick, are you that matchstick? Can you be that matchstick to make a change in Kenya? Not only Kenya, forget Kenya. It's why not East Africa, Kenya, East Africa, Africa, the world, right? Can you do it? You underestimate your own powers. You underestimate who you really are. The question that comes in then is, who are you? Who am I? So if you guys just close your eyes right now, ask yourselves, who am I? Please close your eyes. Ask yourself, who am I? Now you're getting lots of visualizations of who am I. Some of you are saying, I'm a student, I'm this so-and-so's son, I'm so-and-so's sister, brother, blah, 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 whatever. Really, who are you? At the end of the day, you are a spirit, you're a soul. You are a soul, I am a soul in this physical body, and I have a mind. It's my mind that I am working on to try and condition it. I'm conditioning my mind towards a certain behavior. And that's what I'm learning, whether it's here or in school or wherever. Right? So I'm a soul. Do I ever die? I don't. I just come into this body and I leave this body. So I'm not fearful. So fear, somebody talked about fear, removing the fear. Absolutely. Remove that fear from within you. I'm not saying be fearless about the law. The law must be, you must be compliant with the law. Law of the land also. But become fearless in terms of any situation. Like Eric was saying, you need to go and say hi to somebody, just go out there with the confidence and say, hi, how are you? I am so and so, da da da, whatever. And you will see the universe helping you too. Number one. Number two, it starts from the leader inside you. Now, let me ask you a question, quick one. How many of you are leaders? Put your hand up high if you're a leader. Okay, there are some hands that are here, some hands that are here. Great, lots of you are leaders. Thank you. How many of you think you're not a leader? How many of you are confused? Why I'm saying is because there is a leader inside every one of you. You need to arouse that leader. And that's why we're probably taking these courses. We're trying to learn more because there is a leader inside every one of us. A naturally born leader. Including a singer, right? Isn't it? Every one of you can sing. Every one of you can do whatever anybody else can do. The belief in yourself is what is important. That is, I can do it too. So, if we talk about this issue, and if what Dr. Weche asked me to talk about is our story, I was born in Yeri, 1960, and my brother was born in Yeri. My father was there for about 20 years before that, during the Mau phase, and 1963 is when we got independence in Kenya. So it was a Mau war in Yeri, and it was a pretty cold place. Went to Yeri Primary School for 3, 4, 5 years. Then, there was a whole notion that all people who are, there was a whole Africanization movement. All people who are not, who are Asians or whatever, move out, and we had to go to Nairobi. So we came to Nairobi, joined the Irish Primary School, studied there, did my primary education, went to Jamuni High School. Jamuni High School, did my O-levels there, and then went to USIU University. It's in Nairobi. It was a small university then, finished my graduation there, and wanted to do an MBA. I wanted to go to the US. I think a lot of you want to go to the US. Wanted to go to the US. My mom and dad said, no, you're staying here. You're not going out. Because when you go there, you're not going to come back. You become one of those guys for. So, in that sense, I said, learn here, study here, and I studied here, finished all of it here. I still have to do my MBA, I haven't done it yet. But there in school, while in university, I looked at my father's business. My father had a clothing factory called Bidco Clothing Factory. He was making garments and fashion business, making kitenge. Kitenge, I don't know if you know kitenge, but it's called an African print. Really, it wasn't an African print. It's basically that's what we call kitenge. But it was more of a Java print from Indonesia, printed in Holland. The goods were brought out here and converted to African prints. So in that value chain, we looked at it and said, how do we take this business forward? During my schooling period, I used to go to his factory, he had a garments factory, and just to see what's happening, what's not happening. And that's where it came to me that yes, I would like to be a businessman. Before that, he had done about 20 different businesses. In Nyeri, he had done a petrol station, he had done a driving school, and the driving school was moved to Nairobi, and he had a coffee farm here, which is near Thika. And he says, agribusiness is my passion. So my dad, he was born in Mombasa, and then he moved to Nyeri. But he wanted to do agribusiness all his time. He says, that's one thing that's my passion. So in 1980, when I graduated, we did a whole study about taking the garments business backward into cotton. Cotton is the fiber that we make cloth from. So we said, let's go backwards from the industry, start making cotton fabrics, cotton lint, and then go into cotton farming. So that was the whole agri side of it, planting cotton. Held barazas with many people while in university, went around, people said, let them bring us the seeds, we shall plant. And we gave a few tons of seeds to people, and the farmer produce never came back, because the farmer says, force majeure, no harvest. They went and sold the cotton to somebody else. It was an issue. We then realized that without controls in farming, you can't just do contract farming. So extending that whole value chain of cotton, we wanted to go into cotton farming, and then from cotton you get cotton seed and lint. Seed is what you crush. Lint is what you make fabric from. So the cotton seed, if you crush it, you get oil, cotton seed oil. And you get the byproduct, which is the feed mill. It's for feeds. So having studied that whole thing and did my paper, then went to the banks. I said, I have a feasibility study here of doing a cotton farming project with cotton lint and seed and all that stuff put together. So a few banks said, okay, nice project, but it's too big. Do you have any money? We said, no, we're broke. We didn't have any money that time. So the garments business wasn't doing very well because there was a lot of importation of polyester fabrics from Far East, Southeast Asia. So principally, we had to go to banks. So the banks refined us in terms of saying what you should do, what you should not do. And they said actually start small, aim big. It's too big a project. Unless you have 40% capital, we can't give you this money. It was about $60 million then, and we didn't have any penny, it was like broke. We said, why don't you lend it to us? It was more of naivety, to say the bank just lends money. But having said that, the banks refused to lend us any money. Then we looked at it and said, fine, remove the whole garment side of it and just do the oil side of it, the oil crushing, seed crushing, up to oils, and from oil we make soap. So you'll see that today, you'll see what happens. Did that feasibility study separately and went to IFC and other banks and said, yeah, now give us the money. And they said, young lad, do you have any experience? I said, no. Have you ever done this business? No. Are you out from university? Yes, just fresh from university. Has your father ever done this business? No. So it's like, without all that stuff, we can't lend you any money. So it became a standstill. But IFC did tell us one thing, and this is a very, very strong advice. They said, if you want to start this whole value chain, start from one end and then go either backwards or go forwards. So start small, aim big, but each business then supports the other. That was important for us. So we looked at the value chain of seed crushing. We crush seeds, that's what we do in Nakuru. We have a factory in Nakuru where we crush seeds. You get the oil, you bring the oil out, you refine it into edible oil, you get a byproduct and you make soap out of it. And looking at that value chain, we couldn't afford much money, so we said let's start at the small end of soap manufacturing. So in 1985, which is now 30 years ago, we started soap manufacturing in Nairobi. A 1 ton per hour plant, very small, but we started it differently. We started it in a manner where it's quality with the price advantage. We started importing it in bulk rather than getting the oil in drums. That was the industry norm, so we broke the norms of the industry. Quality with the price advantage was our motto from day one. And then came the crunch. We started producing this soap in a small factory there, 1 ton per hour, about 15 to 20 tons per day. And then we said, okay, people should buy it. Went to the shops and said, no. Nobody's asking for your brands. We had some brands there, Kuku and Saba Saba and stuff like that. And they said, nobody's asking for your brands, so we can't buy your product. Now you put up a factory, you've done all this work, and you say, hang on, people are not buying the product? Why? Why not? So they didn't complain about the quality. The quality was good, but they said, if people ask for it, then that's the only time we will be able to buy your product or stock your product. So, crunch time again. How are people going to ask for a product when it's not being sold at all, or it's not being stocked at all? So what hit us home was, okay, we need to buy some vans. So we bought some vans, 3 or 4 vans. And myself and my brother would take separate vans and go out selling to people. So people said, why would I invest in a brand which is not being asked for? So we thought, okay, that's a better idea. Give it consignment stocks. By consignment stocks, it means I give you the stock, you keep it with you, paying it if it's sold. If it's not sold, I'll take it back. So in this manner, we got some traction with people, they started stocking it. Now the second thing is, it wasn't moving because people weren't knowing about it. We didn't have a lot of money to advertise about it. So what we did is, got some people to say, fine, go and ask for this product. Go and ask for this brand. And they started doing that and started traction a bit. And of course, it picked up because the shopkeepers now had some trust and confidence. Why am I telling you this? Because it's always difficult at the start. When you start up afresh, it's always not easy. But the learning is, you must always start with a customer in mind. Any business, anything you do, whether it's an NGO, whether it's a good project, whether it's a doing good project, or whether it's a manufacturing or a service, there must be somebody who is willing to buy your finished product or service. And that hit us home to say, fine, make sure you know what the customer wants. Third learning was, you must always be customer-centric. You must know what the customer prefers, wants, how they use it. So we were starting to make these bar soaps. Now that time the bar soaps that were coming out were very blue, called blue soaps, right? They were very harsh on people's hands and all that stuff. We started making it differently. We put in more oil and we made it white, so it became like a toilet soap. Toilet soap is the one that we use for washing or whatever, but this became a better soap. And then we got these bars where people cut to their size at the kiosks. So we did a lot of experimentation, but the learning now, 30 years on, is whenever you start something, make sure you know what the customer wants, you know what the customer thinks, how they think, and when do they buy, why do they buy. At what price do they buy goods and services. Who is your competitor? It's called KYC, know your competitor, know your company, know your consumer, and obviously also know your colleagues. So that happened, and we started off in 1985 in a small plant in Thika, in Nairobi. And then our plan was always to go from soap into oil, from oil into crushing seeds, from crushing seeds get the oil, go backwards into farming. And 30 years onwards, we're still doing the same thing. We're still pushing that whole agenda of 1985, we put up our soap plant. 1991, we started our oil factory in Thika. This was a complete greenfield site from zero. There was nothing here at all. We started from zero, and it built up. And then came 1992, when we started our oils in 91. 1992, we had a big crisis in Kenya. Probably you were not born at all, none of you. Some of the elders were probably born. But that was when the Goldenberg saga hit us. What is the Goldenberg saga? How did it hit manufacturing? You know what is interest rates, right? You all know what interest rate is. Interest rate is the cost of money, right? And then exchange rate is something that you pay for converting your shillings into dollars. Interest rates went from 15% to 85% per annum. Exchange rate went from 16 shillings to the dollar to 84 shillings to the dollar within a matter of 1 year, 1992. That's when we were hit in Kenya with the Goldenberg saga. This was when you would line up to foreign exchange bureaus to try and get some foreign currency. It was crisis mode. Now, 8 months before that, when we got a whisk of what's happening, the exchange rate's going up, it was at about, from 16 to about 30. At 30, we cut our loans. We said, okay, let's refinance our foreign currency loans, pay them off, and really survive from that day onwards. We refinanced our loans in local currency. That's what saved us. But then, since then, we expanded our capacities. We put up an oil plant here, oil refinery. The first refinery went up in 1991, production here. And then, of course, it was me, my brother, and my father, all three of us. And we're all still together here, 30 years hence, and we're working on this. So that was 1 ton per hour soap plant. Today we do about 3,000 tons per day, in terms of 700,000 tons capacity per annum in East Africa. We're in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. We also do farming. We've got a lot of sunflower, soybean farmers who who plant soybeans and sunflowers for us. We offtake those contracts. We have a crushing facility in Nakuru, which we bought over from Elianto. Come 2001, 2, we had an expansion plan. We went into Tanzania and then Uganda. In Uganda today we have an oil palm plantation. It's 22,000 acres of oil palm. We plant, grow, and harvest from there. So we crush the palm seeds in Ireland, Kalangala, bring the product to Ginger and process there and sell from there. We were factoring in Tanzania too. We're now into Madagascar, end of this year we shall produce there. And we have a clear-cut goal. The goal is to grab, grow and sustain #1 market share in the African markets by the year 2030. We have 15 more years to go, and we want to go all over Africa. Barring South Africa and barring North Africa. The rest is Sub-Saharan Africa. So that's our goal. That's what happened to us. The lessons learned on all this was, if you believe in yourself, you have a goal. If you have a compelling goal, you will get there. So our goal is called to grab, grow and sustain #1 market share in the African markets by the year 2030. That's our goal. Clear, smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time-bound. The learning from this for you is, does each one of you have a goal today? Do you have one? If not, develop one. The power of goals, and I say this, the power of goals for yourself is important. It's just not the business. I talked about the business side of it all. But at the same time, it's the internal part. So, the business alone didn't satisfy our needs in terms of your own internal needs. So, what we had to say is, in Kenya, if you want to make it bigger and you want to be much more agile, you've got to make sure that you change or help change the operating environment. And that's why we actually got involved and engaged in a lot of business associations, a lot of cultural things, a lot of society things. I've been on board member of hospitals, Vimal Hospital. I've been on 25 years. I've been on school boards, running 6-7 schools. Today I sit on 3 universities. I'm the Chancellor of Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology. I'm on the board of USIU. I sit on the board of Management University of Africa. But apart from that, I also sit on the Tony Elumelu Foundation in Nigeria. I'm a board member there. We're actually looking at 10,000 entrepreneurs in Africa. That's $100 million given by Tony Elumelu to a lot of people for entrepreneurship. I also sit on the Mauritius board for the 10-year strategy from where they're going henceforth, what they're going to look at. So there's a lot of that happening. I'm right now on the board of the 3GF. It's called the Global Green Growth Forum. The world is talking about green growth, and we need to have green growth, which means environment-friendly growth, whatever we do, whether it's cars, whether it's manufacturing, whatever it is, whatever we use. There's a lot of that comes in. And with that, the issue that comes up is, somebody's asking outside, how do you manage your time? How do you manage your different areas that you look at? We're also, as a company, as Bidco, we're doing a lot of this manufacturing. We've also got some flower farms here, which we invested in the Mienekuru, which is again producing flowers right from farming, producing right up to Holland. We export them to Holland every day. And I don't know if you know this, but Kenya is now becoming one of the largest exporters of flowers, cut flowers into the world. So there's a lot of that happens, and obviously the question then comes in is, how do you manage time? How do you become this? And how do you get grounded? Because let me tell you, the lesson for you guys is to learn how to ground yourself, how to realize who you are. You are not what you have done. You are not your past. If you go to any financial house today, they'll tell you there's a disclaimer. Past success is no guarantee for future success. So, the world has changed. 1985, when we started off, there was no internet. There was no mobile phones. You guys have mobile phones now. There was no mobile phones. There was no internet. We had those big Britannicas, Encyclopedia Britannicas, in houses or in libraries. We used to go to Macmillan Library in Nairobi to go and study. You guys are so lucky. You've got the whole world in your hands, in your palms. You've got Google Maharaj, we call it Google Maharaj or Google God, right? He gives you all the answers to all your problems, all your questions. The question is, you're getting that knowledge from Google. What are you going to do about it? There's a lot of answers there. You can ask a question, you get the answers, right? What are you going to do about it? And the other problem that a lot of people are having is information overload. There's just too much information available. But imagine, whatever you ask, you will get an answer, right? The question is, yes, it's somebody else's learning or somebody else what they put on board. But the question is, what are you going to do about it? So, I would put it to you that you guys are in a massively advantaged position today. You have internet, you have phones, you can Skype, call, talk, what is this, WhatsApp nowadays? You can do WhatsApp, you can do communications with anyone in the world. You can do Skype calls and what else? FaceTime. You can do FaceTime with anyone. You're also on Facebook, right? So the world has changed. The world has changed dramatically. You're sitting in such an exciting world. Today's world is different.